If you love haunted houses, Halloween, and horror conventions, Midsummer Scream is the place to be at. It's the biggest horror convention of the year, packed with haunted attractions, panels, and all things spooky. But is it worth it? In this video, I'm going to break down our total experience from this past year. What are the things that we absolutely loved about it? What were some of the things that we're going to probably do different for next time? And what are some of the things you should be looking out for when you book your Midsummer Scream experience? Let's jump into the video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Villains of Horror, where we do all things haunted attractions, horror events, and spooky movies. So if you like anything like that, I'm sure you're going to find something on the channel that you're going to love. So with all that out of the way, this past year we went to Midsummer Scream. It was our first time ever going to this event, and we had no idea what to really expect. I was trying to look up videos of other people's experiences, but I didn't really see too many people actually talking about it. So I really want to give you guys our full breakdown, what everything was. But first things first, what is Midsummer Scream? Midsummer Scream is the biggest summer event for horror fans in Halloween. There's tons of vendors, haunted attractions, panels, and a ton of exclusive reveals that happen at Midsummer Scream Live, Horror Night, Not Scary Farm, Queen Mary, and more. And all this takes place over a weekend. So it starts a Friday and it ends on a Sunday. So it's a multi-day event. So first thing first, why was it such a good event? The big thing is for the exclusive reveals for all of the haunted attractions here in Southern California. So yes, Horror Nights, Knott's Berry Farm, and the Queen Mary. That was great. It was great being in the room when they were announcing all of the new reveals and everything like that. We were there when they announced Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was going to be the big new maze for Horror Nights. It was amazing to be in the actual room while it was being announced. And if you guys don't know who John Murdy is, he is the mind behind Horror Nights and the creative director. He was there in the room himself hosting the panel for Horror Nights, and he was giving out live announcements, giving little tidbits of here and there, really breaking down the whole experience when it came down to coming up with the idea of this new Texas Chainsaw Massacre haunted attraction. So being in the room for the Horror Nights one, that was definitely one of the big pluses for us. We were also in the room with Not Scary Farm. It is sad to see that they did talk about how Waxworks is going to be, this was his last year. They didn't really do any live announcements really there, if my memory serves correctly, because I know they were going to have their own special event a little bit later on. They did talk about Waxwork, and they really went down the whole history of it, how everything was designed. That was actually a really cool panel to be on, just to see how much love that they put into that maze, and over the years how there was small little tweaks and stuff like that. So that was actually really cool to see. And the one thing I do like about Knott's Scary Farm is that with their mazes, they do keep them up, year over year. They do change them out, and obviously this is the reason why this was its last year. There is improvements that they do, and I really like just the fact that they showed how much love and attention that they really put into that maze. Probably one of my favorite mazes. I remember the first time we went there going to see Waxworth, I thought that was cool. I don't know how to explain it. I really thought that was cool. The first time I ever saw it, I was like, this is a really cool maze. So it is sad to see it's gone, but it was nice to see it give it a good farewell tour and just kind of send it off with some love. And then also for the Queen Mary, this was the year that they came back, and there was a good amount of excitement for this panel as well. That was cool to be there in the room when they were just like, all right, cool, we're back, we're bigger than ever, it's gonna be great. They actually had their two big mascots came out. So they had the Captain and the Ringmaster. They both came out on stage during the live panel, were interacting with the panel host and talking to the crowd. That was really cool. A great panel. Absolutely loved it. So all of the panels I think were great. I'll get into some of the bad things about the panels, but overall the panels, that alone is worth the price of admission. I really think if you want that experience, that was great. Other things that I absolutely loved was there was other small vendors there. There was a ton of vendors. I don't know if you can even see behind me, but I have some stuff up behind me that I actually bought there too. There was a ton of stuff to buy. So if you like that type of stuff, local artists and even some bigger, vendors as well, they were there selling their goods, and all of it was horror themed. I mean, if you want something horror themed, there's going to be something there for you to buy. Prices, they range. Some stuff was real reasonable. Other things were priced higher, but I'm sure if you go there with the mindset of trying to find something, you're going to find something that's going to be really cool to add to your collection. convention. I absolutely loved the vendors. It was a great time for that. Like really, honestly, great time just buying stuff from the vendors. Another huge highlight for us personally was we did get to sit in one of the live podcasts that was filmed for Scream Dreams. If you like this channel, I'm sure you know who Dead Meat is. James A. Janice was there. He's like a co-host for that other podcast, Scream Dreams. So we actually got a chance to go in and we sat front row for that. There wasn't too many people that were there for that, which I was surprised. But yeah, we got in and sat front row. That was great. They were interviewing Kevin Durant and it was a great time. Like, loved it. Absolutely loved that. So to my knowledge, there's always something like that that's going on. Smaller podcasts and like meet and greets, which I do know there was other bigger YouTubers that were there doing meet and greets. And not even to mention all the people that were down on the vendor stage that were celebrities that were doing like, you know, signing and stuff like that. So there was a ton of people there. One of the sad things was Tony Todd was supposed to be there, but he had to cancel. I believe he had a family emergency and he just passed away just recently. So we didn't get a chance to meet him in person, but he was going to be there. But there was a ton of other people there, so that was really cool. If that was your jam, you could have met a good amount of people from like horror movies and just some other people that kind of kick around some like Comic Cons and like conventions and stuff like that. There was a good number of people that were there. And let's not forget all of the 100 attractions. There was a whole separate like section inside of the Long Beach Convention Center that was like off from the vendor port. There was like a whole like other section that was just set up with all the 100 attractions that were there. I don't remember how many there were. I mean, I want to say like 4 to 5 different mazes that were set up. We went through pretty much all of them, I want to say. I know the one highlight was the Saw maze that they had there. You know, they're not like crazy, but they're still like fun. It's like fun, like in the middle of the summer, going through 100 attraction. That was really cool. And there were scare actors that were walking around inside of that section. There was even sliders. They had like a whole slider show as well. So if you like that type of stuff, it was definitely there. So I really liked the fact that it felt like we were in Halloween, even though it was in the middle of the summer. Great time for that. So absolutely love those aspects of this event. And I also really love the fact that it was a 3-day event. So, I mean, for us, the first day was fairly quieter. It started in the afternoon. That was more like check-in, try to get all your stuff and like get your bearings. And then second day, that Saturday, was more packed, and then Sunday was more packed as well. But it was a great time. It was nice because it gave us a chance to go and like go through the vendors multiple times to like look through stuff that we wanted, stuff that we were thinking about. We came back, you know, the next day and we were able to purchase things and like look around. So it was a nice overall time, I would say, with that. So some of the negative things when it came down to this event was, well, the fact that it was a lot of people there, which is to be expected. Any type of event like this, you would expect it to be a lot of people there, even though LA HorrorCon in comparison to this was so small this year. Like, that was like nothing. This was probably like, not even over exaggerating, like 20 times bigger just of people, because this is like the biggest event. So yeah, there was a lot of people there. So waiting in line to even get into the Long Beach Convention Center, that took a very long time. I believe on the second day, the Saturday, like we showed up maybe like, it was like right around opening, maybe like 30 to 40 minutes after. The line for the general admission, it went all the way down the Long Beach Convention Center, the front. They had it going all the way down, and if you know the area, it's like a long street. They had people lined up going all the way down, wrapping around like part of this other area. Like, I don't even know how long the line was. Like, not even over exaggerating, it was probably like a mile long of just people just to get into the event. That was crazy. I've never been in like a line like that before. Me personally, I don't really like standing in lines. They really make me feel uncomfortable. So like, if you don't like that, you're not gonna like this event, because it's just so many people. So there goes that. So that was for the general admission line. And spoiler alert for a little bit later in the video, I think for sure we're gonna be getting the upgraded passes, because for me alone, it's gonna be worth it. Yeah, waiting in line just to get into the event and then getting into the panels. My God, that was insane. So I want to say the Dark Harbor one wasn't too bad for general admission. I remember when we were waiting, there is a big theater that you can get into to watch the actual panel panel, which I was surprised. Auditorium was huge. I didn't think it was going to be that big. It was up on the second floor. It was huge. A lot of people can get in there. But for Dark Harbor, I believe that was the first one. It wasn't too bad. We were still lined up upstairs, but like far back for general admission. And this is with us getting in line, I want to say like a half an hour to like an hour before it was going to start. Where we lined up, we were like fairly far back. I do want to say they did a good job of keeping the lines under control, of having workers stationed in different sections so people aren't skipping in line. So I did like that. That was nice. So we were lined up pretty far back for that. Not too bad. For Not Scary Farm, it was more further back. It was a little bit bigger of a line. But for the marquee event for Horror Nights, that one, I want to say we got in line probably an hour and a half to 2 hours before that event started. And for the general admission, they had us lining up. Like, it already started all the way up from where the actual theater was, and they snaked all the way down, and we were outside waiting in the hot summer sun for over an hour. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. I wish we would have brought umbrellas for that. We literally brought umbrellas like all the other days, but that one day just for the sun, because it was just insane. It was absolutely insane. I did like how like the workers there, they did say, hey, if you have someone here, if you need to go use the bathroom, you can have someone else in your group to go to the bathroom. So like that was fine, but it was just a pain in the butt. So everyone was just kind of like sitting, waiting in the sun. It was hot. They tried to keep everyone in good spirits, but it was a bit much, especially because we weren't moving. We were just sitting there, like just waiting. But I will say the workers did a good job. They really tried to keep everyone just calm. There was some people that were getting like really upset, but like the workers were like, I'm literally trying to work with you here. Like, what do you want me to do? You know, so I don't blame them. I do think though, hopefully like next year, however they figure it out, people aren't waiting outside, because that was actually brutal. The other thing with that is the way that they let it in is they let people with the top tiers, they go in first, and then they let the other groups in. So like even when the panel time started, that's when they were letting in the gold bat in first, and then they were letting everyone else in after that. So it took more and more people to get in even before like the general admissions were able to get in. So it took a while. Our line didn't start moving to, I want to say like 25 minutes after they started letting people in. So it definitely took a while for us to get in there. But once we got in, we had seats though. I was shocked. I thought it was going to run out. Quick tip for that, what we did, we actually went off to the sides. A lot of people were trying to go in the middle. They had three big sections. We went off to like the right hand side. We were able to get seats kind of far up actually, because not too many people were sitting up on the sides, like closer up. There was like seats where you could fill in at. It was just me and the wife, so just two of us. We were able to find seats pretty close. I mean, it wasn't like super close, but like close enough that we could see the stage. So it wasn't too bad. I did like how even though when they ran out of seats, they did let people stand off to the side. So that was nice, because I feel like for all that hustle and bustle of trying to get in there, they did let some people like still get in there and like stand off to the side. So that was nice for the workers, for them letting people do that. And then the other thing when it came down to parking, what we wind up doing was, I believe like the first day we parked close in like one of the parking ramps that was like right there next to the convention center. After that, we didn't do that. I believe the second day of the Saturday when we were trying to get parking, like that parking ramp was closed, and like we were in line trying to get down to, I think it was the parking lot for the convention center, but the line just wasn't moving. And I was just like, we're not doing this. So got out of line. We just found parking. It was in some other parking ramp a couple blocks away. We were able to get parking in there. So just parking just in general, I mean, but that goes without saying. There's just a lot of people trying to get down there. So you just got to plan accordingly. I would just Uber, or you can just park far enough and just walk in. That's what we did. And it was fine. Honestly, like I enjoyed parking and then just walking in. It was summer in Long Beach, beautiful weather. So that was great. So yeah, when it came down to anything negative, it just really came down to just the sheer amount of people that were there and just navigating and everything like that. But when it came down to like in the actual event itself, there was still plenty of room for going to the vendors. I mean, it got crowded in sections, but it didn't feel too bad. You can walk around. It felt fine. Like we're used to going to theme parks. It felt kind of just like that. You can walk around. There was plenty of room getting into line and everything like that. Yeah, there was no major issues with that. And even getting into like the 100 mazes, the line weren't too long. Like it wasn't like an hour wait. I want to say maybe like 40 minutes with like general admission. Granted, we did wait until later in the afternoon to like do the mazes themselves. but it wasn't bad at all. What should you expect? I would expect there to be a lot of people. Be patient because it's a lot of people. But for the most part, everyone there was really chill. Like there was people that were dressed up cosplaying. People had their own costumes. People, you know, like all the vendors were like super nice. We didn't have any like bad experiences at all. It's like everyone there was like super chill. And like everyone's there for the same purpose for the most part. You're paying to get in there. You want to have a good time. You know what I mean? If you like spooky stuff, this is the big event for you. So it was great for that. I really enjoyed that. I would just expect just to have more patience. Just overall in general, I feel like most people, the world would be a much better place if people were a little more patient and a little more courteous to other people. Honestly. But yeah, if you like events like this, you'll fit in. If you can, I would upgrade your pass. I know for us, we're going to do that for sure. I'm like, I'll pay the premium price to not have to wait in line just because of like not having to wait in line for the panels, and waiting in the sun is worth it. But if you want to just go and not go to the panels themselves, because plenty of people are like live streaming it, so you don't necessarily have to go to the panels. You can just be there and do the vendors, do everything else. I think general admission is totally fine. There's plenty of people who didn't go to the panel. That's totally fine. You can go hang out in the vendors booth. There's other smaller stuff that's going on. I know like even there was like in one of the rooms up in the top floor near the panel auditorium, there was like a sound movie theater that was like a horror experience, which was really cool. There was just like, it was an audible auditorium and there was like some scare actors in there kind of walking around. That was pretty cool. So there's like stuff like that you can do that's not necessarily going to the big live panels. But yeah, I would say what to expect it to be a good time, and expect to see a lot of different people, a lot of different other YouTubers, a lot of different just people in general. I mean, it was a good time. And also when it came down to security though too, I do want to say the security was kind of lax. I was kind of worried, like, can we bring a bag in? Is it gonna be like super like intense? It was fine. I mean, it felt kind of like random. I remember the one day I had a bag, my wife had a bag though too, but like her bag went off, even though I had a camera with me. So I'm like, I don't really know. And I was like, oh, do I need to stop? They're like, oh no, you're good, keep going. And I was like trying to wait for her. So I don't really know what the policy was or what the deal was, but like apparently it was fine. So I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about that, but I would say go to the website, look at the bag policy just to be safe. But yeah, for us, it was fine. It was just a little bit weird. And also really quickly though, when it came down to food, there was food there. There was like a bakery shop that's down on like the lower floor, or even outside, there was food trucks that were all out there. And if you want, you could leave the convention center and like, there's literally like a whole big thing across the street. So there's plenty of food. There was also food in the section where the haunted houses were. Like if you go all the way down, there was food down there too. So there's like plenty of food. You could find food, and there's also places where you can sit down to eat for the most part. Like when we got food at the bakery, we found a table, we were able to sit down and eat. So I always appreciate when there's a place that you can sit, eat whenever you want to eat. I always appreciate that. But yeah, overall, it was a great event. I think if you love horror and you're local, even if you're not local, I think it's probably worth just coming up for it. It's a good weekend, great time. If you can do it, do it. If not, definitely subscribe to the channel. We're going to be showing you guys this one coming up for this year. So if you want to know what it was like this year, all the live stuff that's going to be announced, definitely subscribe to the channel. But if you want to come in person, I would say come in person. And if you see us there, hey, come and say hello. But the biggest thing I'm going to say, if you can upgrade, I would upgrade. And yeah, it's a great time. But speaking of great times, Universal just released their tickets for the Universal Horror Nights Unleashed up in Vegas. I am going to be going there. I did a video on it right here. I'm super excited for that. We're going to be there opening weekend. It's going to be a great time. But if you want to know all the details about getting tickets, what tier you should get and everything like that, check out this video right here. Subscribe for more. Follow us on Instagram as well. That's going to be linked down below. And we'll see you over there.